Napeyagdaskapakti. Thank you for applauding me, and I wanted to start out saying that I'm glad you're all here. We've heard some very, very worthwhile and good information, and that has always been, I guess, my memories of the Humanities Council. Because in my younger days, I never thought that I'd, be speaking before anybody, because, we're all kind of shy about getting up in front of somebody and making a big mistake or something. But that's where I got my start, was with the Humanities Council. And I guess if you read the book that GameChanger's book, the one that they sent out, Health and Happiness, they have the beginning is Ev Albers. And he was the executive director who gave many of us who never had the opportunity to come out like this and that opportunity to speak, because he had this portrayal of historical people. And that's where then I applied and got to do this speaking. And it has really been a wonderful experience. So no matter what, don't ever think, I can't do it. I won't. Try it. You never know what it'll mean to you in your life. And I think these are things that life is about. And I wanted to, before I begin my story, to really briefly talk about this work of art we did at the home in Allendale. That was a very, very eye-opening experience, because I was on a pilot program when they were looking for Art for Life way back when, and I went to Fargo and I think another home in Grand Forks. That was really, really an eye-opener again to me. What it means for people to be shut off from everybody who are going about, everyday activities, and maybe some of these people in there, these ladies, were expert cooks and all that. And I thought about, again, my life also, how maybe I denied some people that experience, but I tried, because it is. We all have lived life so far, even if we're young. What did we experience? But in going there and doing this work, or doing this project, there was a lady there. Evidently, she didn't say too much or do too much. But after one day, when we were working on this, why, then she wrote a poem. And I heard here recently that she's teaching the other residents of that home how to write. And who would have thought that there she was sitting there, that she had this talent within her? So we have to always work and give not only ourselves that opportunity to do something, but do it for others, because others do need to have that opportunity. And take care, because when we did this, they danced. And I used the songs. I research songs, and I know songs from our own way. Some of our songs are designed for healing. So then in that one, I took one of the songs from the Enemy Way ceremony, my in-laws, the Navajos, and then I also then took one from our own social dance songs, which are kind of happy, light songs in our language. And that's what they danced to when they made this here. And they won a big prize for it, too, a national recognition. So I thought, isn't that a wonderful thing to do? And I'll say one more thing, but I'll say it at the end. But our stories concern this Spider-Man. He was us before we became real human beings. So he was always trying something. And for some reason, the story of the Unktomi na Itawa Iawa Ataya, that's the name of it in our language, when the Spider-Man met the giant. And Spider-Man was us before we knew how to be human beings. So he didn't do things very well. For one thing, he didn't realize he should have a home. So he's always walking around, always walking around. He's walking again. All of a sudden, he felt this wind, and maybe it was here, I don't know. But anyway, this wind, and it was really terrible. So all of a sudden, it would just drag him forward. And it'll push him back. He wondered, what is this? But it kept doing that and drawing him closer and closer to what he thought was the source. And when he got there, this giant was laying there sleeping, snoring. It was his breath that was doing that. He got worried and thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And here that giant opened its eyes. What's this little thing doing here in my face? And of course, he was the Spider-Man, so he could do things when something happened. So right now, he said, Misu, he said, in our language, that's little brother. I said, little brother, he said, you're sleeping here just nice. And remember, again, sometimes we have to pull that act when something imminent is going to happen to us. We learn those lessons. But anyway, and he said, he said, I'm just full. The giant said, I ate up that village over there, and there's another one over here. I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to eat that one up too. Oh, he said, I'll go with you, he said. But he was busy thinking, how am I going to save myself? And he thought, little brother, is there anything you're afraid of? And that giant Ia said, yes, he said, I'm big brother. Chie, he called him to them. And that's how they used to emphasize to us our language, big brother, because brother's not just brother. But he said, yes, big brother, he said, I'm afraid of, he said, the sound of the drum. So Uktomi kind of looked at him kind of hard. I'm afraid of, he said, singing. And I'm afraid of the whistle. And he said, I'm afraid of the bells, he said. And Uktomi said, he said, for sure we're related, because those are the very things I'm afraid of too. So Uktomi said, I'm ready to go now. So they went toward that village. And he told Spider-Man, you go around that side. But before that, the Spider-Man sneaked to the village and told those villagers, I'm going to be coming here with a giant. And he's afraid of these 4 things, so hurry up and get ready. So I guess the villagers got ready, had their drum ready, their singers ready, wore their bells, and had their whistles. And sure enough, Uktomi said, go around that side and you start to eat them from that side, now go around this side. So then they went, and as soon as the giant got right into the village, the singers started to sing. And then they started to rattle their bells. And then they started to blow their whistles. And the giant just passed out, just absolutely cold. And so then the people of the village said, well, we'll have to dispose of him. And as they met to dispose of him, well, then they said, well, probably the best way is to set him on fire, so then they start to build a fire. And sure enough, the fire went and it was consuming him. But in the story, it says that the giant was wearing a ring, and that ring, somebody took it, and they wear it. So that's why we still have giants among us who can consume us and do us damage. So we have to be on the alert for that too. But, as we live our lives, we have to think back. I used to think when I was growing up, gosh, we have a hard time here. We don't have electricity. We don't have running water. And we're always out there in the hot sun herding the sheep, or we're always out there in the cold. I grew up in Sioux County, born in 1930, which was the drought time. And so we had sheep. But I'd go along with the old ones. My mother's father, who was born in 1845, and her other mother. We'd always be walking. I always wanted to go. But, I learned a lot at that time, because when I married this Navajo, well, then they had sheep. And because I could eat mutton and I loved mutton, the Navajos really were good to me. And the other thing that when you go somewhere and do something, somebody does something good for you. I went to United Tribes here about 2-3 years ago, and I told the story of the star in the cottonwood tree. We have cottonwood trees. Some of them have beautiful stars in them. I told that story. Here, the chairman of the Sisseton Wahpeton tribe came to me afterward and said, I heard the most wonderful story in my own language. I'm going to give you something. He said, here, he gave me this necklace. And, we get something like this sometime. And we must always kind of remember that there's a way to use it. And so when I wear it, I remember those times. And maybe many of you do that. You have something that you carry or something that you wear. It reminds you of a really good and happy time. Then, of course, I wear this other necklace in honor of my husband, who is a Navajo, and he was recruited by the Marines when he was young, and he became one of the code talkers who helped the war in the Pacific. And so I wear it in his memory also. And then of course, I have to create a dress. So then that helps me use what's up here yet and make things that go together and try to make a good picture of whatever it is that I'm trying to do. And so I see that this clock down here says 000. So, but and then something happens again to you very quickly. I'll just tell you the story. About 2 months ago, I got this in the mail from Canyon Records, and you think, oh, geez, I'm kind of beyond it now. I'm not good for anything. Here I got this thing from Canyon Records in Phoenix, songs from Denata. And I used to dance with my husband's dance team. I wasn't a Navajo, but I learned. And in this thing, they write what I did for that, how I translated the songs, how I danced and grind corn and all that. And these little things like this happen to us when we get older, and it gives us a boost, and we can keep going and not just sit in our rocking chairs. Pidamapi.